Well, thank you, Chairman. And Mr. Russo, thank you for being here today. I also want to thank you for your service to keeping people safe and law enforcement. I, too, spent a career in the NYPD, so thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Are you aware of the law that governs the IG's non-disclosure of the identity of an employee or member who has come forward with a complaint or information of potential Capitol Police misconduct?
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so I'm just going to read it for the record. So U.S. Code 2 U.S.C. 1909, sub 3, sub B, the Inspector General shall not, after receipt of a complaint or information from an employee or member, disclose the identity of the employee or member without the consent of the employee or member, unless required by law, or the Inspector General determines such disclosure is otherwise unavoidable during the course of the investigation. So, I think I know the answers to these questions, but I'm going to ask them for the record. Do you agree that this is important to protect rank-and-file officers and employees from receiving retribution from coming forward with potential misconduct?
It's of paramount importance.
Okay. Do you interpret this section as only protecting specific individuals who specifically ask for whistleblower protections, or does it apply to anyone, the rank and file, the men and women of the Capitol Police, that come forward with a complaint or information regarding potential misconduct and speaks to the OIG or someone from your office?
It applies to all.
Okay. As Inspector General, have you ever disclosed, and I know you've only been here since January 29th, and we thank you for that, but during your time as an Inspector General here or in previous capacities, have you ever disclosed the name of an employee or member who had come forward with a complaint or any information?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Would you ever disclose this information without the individual's permission?
We would protect that information at all costs. It's super serious that people feel comfortable to come to us without fear of retaliation. So it's a priority to make sure we handle that with great care.
Thank you. Do you know of any prior IGs disclosing the names of Capitol Police employees who spoke to the OIG and made complaints about USCP leadership?
I don't.
Okay. We've heard from multiple individuals in different hearings that have spoken to this committee alleging that the previous OIG received whistleblower information about intelligence failures on January 6th under former Acting Chief Pittman. Subsequently, the individuals were placed on a performance improvement plan and eventually forced out of the department. Do you, as the OIG and in your previous capacities, do you consider this retaliation?
I'm not familiar with the situation or the details, so it's hard for me to make a judgment. I would submit to the committee that it's one of the most important things we do to be able to protect these complainants, and that any disclosure of that information is inappropriate. You want to protect them from retaliation. And so, again, I can't speak to the specifics of that issue, but I can assure this committee that's a top priority for us.
Well, thank you. I know I agree. And those allegations that I referenced, and I'm not sure if this has happened since January 29th, but have any of these allegations of retaliation been investigated by the OIG?
I believe we have had some investigations related to that. It might have been prior to January, but I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, so I guess the question I really have is, are you committed to conducting full investigation and providing a report to this committee of your findings?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I just have a minute left. Are there any practices in place in your office that would ensure that this statutory prohibition on disclosing a whistleblower's information is enforced?
The general principles of the Whistleblower Act would be the governing principle for us to ensure we keep that confidential, that information.
And what, if any, do you think the disciplinary action should be against an IG who fails to comply with this section of the statute?
So in Florida, I think we put in a civil penalty. It's a very serious issue. I'm not sure what the penalty is here. Certainly a violation of our administrative policies that would have to be dealt with in that arena.
And I know I'm just a second over time, but I think this is an important question. In your opinion, should the United States Capitol Police adopt specific policy to protect whistleblowers?
Yes, if they don't have a particular policy right now that speaks to that specifically, there should be.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
My time has expired. Chairman, I yield back.